All right, we are live. Welcome back, you guys. As we are waiting for everyone to get logged on, as always, if you'd like to come work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. We do hair, makeup, suits and posing, all the fun stuff when it comes to competing for women. If you are logging on Instagram, we are also live on YouTube. If you are on YouTube, say hello in the chat box for me. If you're on Instagram, go over to our YouTube channel anyway and subscribe. Subscribe, like, comment, turn on notifications. If you turn on notifications over on YouTube, then you will get notified a half hour before we go live. So then that way you won't miss any of our live feeds or anything like that. What's up? What's up? Hello. Welcome, you guys. Welcome. As everyone's getting logged on here too, as you know, we have Cuties Conquering the Stage coming up. So if you are on Instagram, the link is in my bio there. If you're on YouTube, it's in my description box. You can get your live stream tickets there. We do have full price tickets available as well. The early bird tickets did sell out, so those are gone. We do have full price tickets available now. Check that out if you haven't already. Yeah, this is the best for me right now. I feel like this is bedtime for me, which is not normal. But last night, Piggle, one of my dogs, woke us up like 3 times. She was having nightmares, like seeing things and stuff. So she would wake up barking. Oh my God. It was a rough night last night. I'm done. I'm on my last thread right now. I wanted to take a nap so bad today, but I knew if I took a nap, I wouldn't sleep tonight. So I didn't take a nap. So right now I'm like, oh, I don't know how I'm surviving, but yes. And and again, if you're missing the reference to the breakfast thing, I'll tap on that one real quick and show it. That was from our chat when we were talking about when the ladies were running for the live stream for Cuties Conquering the Stage. We're talking about how the one of the things you look forward to in prep is going to sleep so that you can get up and eat in the morning. Like I can't wait to go to bed so that I can get up to eat. So that's where that reference is right there. If y'all missed that live feed, it is still on our YouTube channel, so you should check that out because that was really good. We had a bunch of our speakers that are going to be at Cuties Conquering the Stage. They were on live with us, and we talked about some things like that. So it was funny. Yeah, poor puppers, exactly. I don't, she's older. Piggle's our rescue. We don't know exactly how old she is. We're thinking she's 13, 14 years old, that kind of thing. So she sees things every once in a while or just, whatever. She's still in great shape, but every once in a while she'll wake up in the middle of the night with nightmares. So that was last night. It's like having a child kicking us in bed, So yeah, so right now I'm struggling just a little bit because my sleep was not good last night. But I'm here. I made it, you guys. So with that, tonight's topic is what are you willing to sacrifice, right? So this is not actually a bad thing. When it comes to competing and things like that, we do have to sacrifice things. So I bring up this topic because I think it's important to make a real note of what you are willing to give up and what you're not, right? Like, for example, Jennifer's sitting right here right now. She wants to go to sleep, but she's sacrificing her sleep so she can be here and maybe learn a little nugget that's going to help her with her prep, right? So we're all going to have to sacrifice things. If you want to be great at anything, you have to make sacrifices. You have to know what you're willing to give up and what you're not. What you're willing to actually say, okay, that can go off to the side so that I can be better with this, right? So I do want to ask you guys these questions. I'm going to actually pull up a little Word document and we're going to write them out together. So for those of you that are on Instagram, go ahead. You can comment on Instagram too. On YouTube, I'm actually going to write all these suggestions out that you guys give me. So go ahead. Feel free to comment into the chat box. What are you willing to give up? What are you willing to sacrifice in order to be great at competing? Right? So I'll say, something just to get us started. Right? So I'm willing to sacrifice, going out socializing and drinking. Right? So there's one. There's a sacrifice that I'm willing to make. Oops, I can't type with these nails either. So there's one. Okay, there, and as you type them in, I'm going to go ahead and type them out here for you. So these are great. Keep them coming. So we've got time, instant pleasure. Two. So let me go ahead and give a second line for that. Nightlife. Drinking. Social events. So you're willing to get up at 4 a.m. What else? Give me some more, guys. How about money? That's a sacrifice. You're willing to sacrifice money? We're all going to have to sacrifice money, right? Spontaneous outings. Yep. Yes, holidays kind of social. Well, I think that you can still enjoy holidays. I think you can still enjoy some of these things, you know what I mean? But it's just a matter of how you enjoy them, I suppose, right? What am I doing? Okay, here we go. Having my hair done. There you go. Yep. Hey, you can see that from me right here. I got this up in the pineapple bun right now. I'm sacrificing my hair right now, right? Let's see. Traveling. Yep. What else? What do we got over here? Wild nails all year. Yep. Yeah, you can't have those crazy ones. Like, what was it? You came to see SWS with like neon. I think it was like neon green or something like that, or yellow or something. And I was like, no, you can't wear those on stage. Just so you know. Giving up lashes. That's funny. Actually, one of the things that I did with competing is I started getting lashes done. So I was doing lash extensions for a long time. I took a break. I do Lashify now, which is the stay at home, the ones you can do from home, which is what I wear every day now. But for me, that's one of the things that I actually do because it makes me feel like I'm put together all the time. So that started with the coming back to competing. It's less maintenance. It's money. Yep, we got more money there. People enjoy spending their money on going out and eating and drinking. I choose to spend my money on clean food. I can clean at home supplements and, of course, leggings. Right? Yes. What else? What else are we willing to sacrifice? How about family time? You do have to sacrifice family time in order to get your workout done sometimes, right? Lashes for nails and yep, instead. See, as you guys know, I'm a DIYer. So I started doing polygel nails actually just like a month or so ago. So I just did a new set last night. So I got I do my own nails. I hate spending time in the nail salon. Relationships. Yeah. Relationships and time with family and friends. Yeah. And I don't think that that's, shamefully. You do have to sacrifice those things. People always talk about balance. There is such a thing as balance, but when you get into a prep and things like that, and you get into those nitty-gritty weeks, you do have to be quite imbalanced. There's times to be balanced, and there's times where you have to sacrifice. There's times where you have to give things up in order to be great. It just is what it is, right? It's you have to understand what your threshold is, and you have to understand what you're willing to give up and what you're not. That's a big thing too. So yeah, time with family, absolutely. That's a sacrifice that you're willing to make, right? And these are all things that we have to be okay with when we start, in order to be great. Now, if you just want to get on stage and just, do transformations and things like that, that's one thing. You probably don't have to sacrifice quite as much. But if you want to be great at anything, Not just this sport. If you want to be great at anything, you have to sacrifice. You can't have balance 24/7. You can't, right? Comfort zone, have to do things you've never done to get where you've never been. Yep, you have to sacrifice your comfort zone. That's true. Yep. Went with a huge group to the Jets game Sunday. Yeah, and that's the whole thing. It's like you can still do these things. You can still you just have to be good about how you spend your time. But again, if you're deep in prep and you're doing 2 hours of cardio a day plus your training plus your meal prep, all that kind of stuff, there's very little room for error there. Very little room, right? Working you should be able to train in the day. Yep. How you work. Some people have to take on an extra job in order to make money to be able to compete. We've talked about this before. Competing is not cheap. It's an expensive sport. And if you want to do it right, you've got to make the funds to be able to do that. And some people do take on second jobs in order to be able to afford their competitive journey and their competitive dreams, right? That is a sacrifice. Working more is a sacrifice. I've gladly sacrificed friendships that no longer serve or support me. That's another thing too. You start realizing in your life what's really important and what's not. I would say I'm the same way as that. Before I started competing, I had tons of friends and I was out every night of the week. No lie, no joke. But it was very superficial, right? And I saw who was actually my friend and who was not once I started getting into this world. And I started making other people uncomfortable with my choices. And they started realizing that they just by not doing this or whatever, they realized how mundane their life was, how average, that kind of thing. When you make somebody look at a mirror of themselves and say, I don't like what I see, you start losing friends real quick. You start losing friends real quick when they start realizing that you're kind of outgrowing them. And that if they stick around you, they've either got to step up or they're going to start not liking what they see. You know what I mean? So yeah, absolutely. Some of the sacrifices of relationships have been very much for the positive, right? Anything else that we've sacrificed? Say it again for the people in the back. It's true. There's just some people that are meant to be more than, are meant to push their boundaries, are meant to go above and beyond. And then there's some people that aren't built like that. There's some people that are going to be okay with just being average. And you know what? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But those two people don't mix. We call them campers and climbers, right? There's campers and there's climbers. In any relationship, when it comes to relationships like, spousal relationships, and when it comes to relationships like friendships, there's campers and there's climbers. If both people are campers, they're going to be good together. If both people are climbers, they're going to push each other. They're going to be good together. If one's a camper and one's a climber, they are not going to work. They're going to clash because one person's going to be happy where they are, and the other person is going to always want to be better. They're always going to be wanting to ascend and be better than what they are. So those two people will clash. They will clash, and they're just not meant to be together. Right? Yes, I see it with my clients. They see who really supports them. Absolutely. Yep. Because you know what? The people who actually care about you and want the best for you and want to see you do well and want to see you ascend and want to see you be better, those people will stick by your side no matter what. No matter what, they're going to love you. And if they don't, then they weren't meant to be there anyway. Right? Is there anything else that we missed as far as sacrifices? Okay, so we got some sacrifices here. Now, what are you not willing to sacrifice? I think this particular list could be more important than what you are willing to sacrifice, because I think what happens a lot of times is people get into this sport and they start going and they just get this obsessive personality over it, which to an extent you do have to get there. Like we just said, we were just talking about this. You do have to get there. What are you not willing to sacrifice? Morals. That's a great one. We were talking about this weekend, Jennifer. You know, you have to have roots. You have to have something where you know where you stand, no matter what. You've got those roots embedded in the sand, right? And you can't uproot yourself to try to succeed and do things that you can't look yourself in the mirror over, right? Health, yes. Hey, health is wealth, right? You cannot sacrifice your health. You know, this sport is not healthy to an extreme, right? But if you do it the right way, you can still be even more healthy than people that don't compete, right? Authentic self, yes. Which comes down to, again, that having those roots and knowing what you're willing to sacrifice and what you're not, right? Mental health. Yeah, mental and physical, both. Yes. Remember, at the end of the day, you're doing this sport for what it gives you internally, right? Externally, what you're getting is a $10 trophy, right? That's it. Externally, that's what you're getting. You might get a few likes on Instagram. You get some cool tiaras and trophies to put up on your shelf, but those collect dust, right? Where you really get the most important things from this sport is what you have going on inside your soul, inside your heart, inside your mind, right? And if you sacrifice those things, you're easily going to go down a downward spiral, right? We've talked about, you know, these natural versus not live streams, right? What are we willing to sacrifice in that regard? Are you willing to sacrifice, not willing to sacrifice your femininity? You know, maybe that's something you're not willing to sacrifice in order to be better in the sport. And again, you know, we said that with health and things like that. So we'll put that on there as a list, right? Not willing to do that, not willing to go past your boundaries, whatever your boundaries are, you know. You know, this is a very timely one right here. And like, I actually have a couple of videos I'm going to put out that I shot while I was in Nashville about just doing photo shoots and knowing how to lay out boundaries and things like that when you go into photo shoots. So not willing to sacrifice going past your boundaries. Have very clear boundaries in place that you are not willing to go past. Because I promise you, if you go past those boundaries, you are not going to be happy no matter what the result is. If the result is a win, you are still not going to be happy because you sacrificed what your boundary was in order to get that win, right? That's not winning. That's not winning, you know? And everybody has different boundaries. So again, I'm not here to tell you what your boundaries should be, but if you have a set boundary somewhere where you won't go past it, and you do go past it, you're not going to be happy about it. You're not going to be happy about whatever the results are. So have very clear boundaries and say, okay, you know what? I want to win my pro card, right? Let's just say I want to win my pro card, but I'm not willing to do X, Y, and Z in order to win my pro card. So guess what? It may take me a few more years to win my pro card because I'm not willing to do X, Y, and Z. That's okay. That's okay, right? I've been in this industry for 13 years, right? And I, at the very beginning, laid out what I was willing to do and what I was not willing to do. And look who has still been able to ascend in the sport. I still have plenty of goals that I want to hit. I have plenty of goals that I want to reach, but I still have my boundaries in place too. Right? I still have my boundaries in place. Yes, the cutie community cares. We sure do. Absolutely. Go ahead and show that one for a minute. So you need to understand it's very easy to get caught up once you start going down one of these roads, these bunny holes with the sport, it's very, very easy because you get so close. You're like, oh my God, I can almost taste it. If I go just a little bit further, I'll get there, right? But then in the process, you've sacrificed your authentic self. You've sacrificed your health. You've sacrificed your mental health. You've sacrificed all of those things that you told yourself you weren't going to, right? All of those things matter. So what I suggest you do, and again, this is on you. This is your personal decision, right? I'm not the person to sit here and tell you what's right and what's wrong. I'm not the person that's going to sit here and tell you you should do this or you shouldn't do that. I probably have much further boundaries than some people do, right? In some regards. And then I might have quite closer boundaries than other people do in other regards, right? Those are your personal choices, and that's totally fine. What I suggest you do is you sit down and you actually write those out. If you got a journal or something like that, write down what you are willing to do and what you are not willing to do. My dog is healthier than a lot of people, sadly, right? Well, your dog is basically a human, goes with you everywhere, right? Those of us that are fur baby moms like that, I mean, our dogs are taken care of better than a lot of kids are taken care of. It's just the truth. But do this. And I suggest you also do this when you're not in prep. I suggest you do this when you're in an off season so that when you get into prep, you don't start making decisions just because you were in a different mental state, right? Once you start down a road, it's really easy to keep going down that road. So just don't start, right? You need to set clear boundaries of what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. And do that when you are not in an emotionally charged state, right? Do that when you're not being pressured by somebody to do something, right? Like one of the tips that I give with my videos that'll be coming out in regard to a photo shoot is you sit down and you say, I'm willing to do this, I'm not willing to do that. And you make it very clear before you ever even walk into that photo shoot. Not only with yourself, but with your photographer too, right? Not even watching the message pop up on screen. I knew that was Holly talking about lady. That fur baby is such a great, I know, right? I know, man. Like I'm the same way with my dogs. Like my dogs get like organic, like fresh food every day. I'm like, damn, you all eat better than I do sometimes. For real. Oh Lord, they're so spoiled. But I say it all the time, like, for those of you that look at my personal Instagram or Facebook or whatever, I dressed up my whole family as the Wizard of Oz this year for Halloween. My husband was laughing. And I was like, I can't help it. I don't have kids. This is my family. This is our photo ops right now. Like, this is what we do. I was like, these are my photo albums. These are my babies. I don't have kids, so they get the benefit of the fur baby mama right here, Anyway, I don't remember what I was talking about. But my point in saying all of this is sit down. This list is a really good place to start, and figure out what you are willing to sacrifice in order to be great at what you want to do with competing. Because you do have to sacrifice in order to compete. You do have to be willing to sacrifice in order to be great. You do. Okay. I can't sit here and tell you that you're going to be the next Miss Olympia and your whole life is going to be exactly the same as it is right now. You do have to give up things, right? LOL, walking to every event, shoot, show, etc. with clear boundary set. Absolutely. Sure do. Yep. Because this is the other thing too. And Jennifer, you haven't realized this yet, but it'll happen now that you're on the pro circuit. It happens a lot when you go to national shows, happens when you go to pro shows. As a pro or as a national level athlete, you'll walk into these shows and there will be photographers that will just walk up to you and say, let's go do a photo shoot, that are just there at the show. Happens all the time. And I get girls that message me, do you know so-and-so? Is this a person that I should be shooting with? And I'll tell them yes or no. I'll tell them straight up. Be ready for those things because they'll happen. They will happen the more that you get into the sport. And you have to know what you're getting yourself into and understand where your boundaries are. Don't walk into stuff blind. Walk into stuff ready. ready to go in a good way. You know, that allows you to get what you want out of the situation, whether it's a shoot or it's competing or whatever it might be. It allows you to get out of it what you actually want, and you don't get taken advantage of either. Right? Those are two big things. So always be prepared for this stuff. Always. Okay. So, you know, you have to be good. You have to be able to make sacrifices and be a bit obsessive when you want to be great at competing. Okay. So these are some things that people are willing to give up. If you're on Instagram, I've got a list actually up over on YouTube that we put together from comments. So these are some things that people are willing to give up. Right? Sorry, I'm noticing typos. I'm fixing those. Go. I'm like, oh, that's wrong. So know what you are willing to do. And some of it can be like, okay, also when we're talking about like the training and the diet and things like that, okay, I am willing to go up to 2 hours of cardio, but I'm not willing to go past that, right? I am willing to go down to 1,200 calories, but I'm not willing to go past that, right? You have to set those kind of boundaries too, because that will affect how you prep for shows, right? Set those really minute boundaries can actually help you be healthy, right? Say, listen, I'm not willing to push my body to this point. I'm not willing to push my body to that point. I'll push my show back before I go ahead and decide to do all this, right? You know, it's the same thing when we're talking about supplementation. A lot of people get so like adrenally fatigued from, you know, caffeine and pre-workouts and low calories and high cardio and all this kind of stuff that they completely wreck their whole body. You know, you got to know where you are and how far you're willing to push, because you get to a certain point where you are going to negatively affect your body for a long period of time. That's going to be difficult to reverse, right? So make sure you set those kind of boundaries too, right? I was already blind, didn't know they do that. Are you talking about the people walking up to you at shows? Is that what you're talking about, Yolanda? But yeah, have those boundaries set in place too. You know, I do that every time I go into a prep. If I get to a certain point with my caloric intake or whatever, I'm like, I'm not going any lower than this. Or if I get to a certain point with my cardio and my intensity, I'm not going any more than this, because I know it's just going to hurt me in the end, right? So have those types of things in place too. So know what you are willing to do. Oh, no problem. But yeah, Yolanda, they do. They'll do that at shows. So be very, very observant, be very aware. Some of these people that do that are fantastic photographers and awesome to work with. You know, I'm not saying that all of them are bad, but all I'm saying is be aware that it happens, so that if it does happen to you, you can go in and research them and say, oh yeah, I actually do want to shoot with this person. Or no, I don't want to shoot with that person. You know, the first few shows that I went to years and years and years ago, I met some really cool people through shooting, you know, at the Arnold. This was like, gosh, when was that? It was like I think it was 2012. I think it was 2012. I shot with a bunch of photographers and stuff, and I met some really cool people doing it that way, right? But you have to know what you're willing to do and what you're not, because they try to push some of them tried to push me past what I was comfortable doing, and I didn't do it. I was like, nope, I'm good. I'll just stand here and give you a flex. I'm good. So again, just understand what you're doing, right? And put those boundaries in place of what you're not willing to sacrifice, like I was just talking about. You know when to draw the line. Okay? Unfortunately, like I said, a lot of people in this sport go down the bunny hole real quick, and then they can't get back out. What's the best way to respond to a photographer that approaches you that way and you want to research them? Tell them you want to research them. That's the best way you respond to them. Say, let me go look you up. You got some references. Let me look up your IG. Let me look up people that you've shot with. Let me talk to them. That's how you do it. Be honest. If they have a problem with that, then you know you shouldn't be shooting with them. If they say, no, let's just go. Let's go shoot. No. Let me figure out who you are first. Totally fine. Totally acceptable. Any photographer who's good, you know, anybody who's good is going to say, yeah, go ahead. Look them up. Nothing to hide, right? Yeah. Honesty. Honesty is always the best policy. Always. Be straightforward and honest. So again, make this list for yourself. Get very detailed with it. You'd be surprised how quickly your brain goes to mush when you're in prep and you start thinking, this little bit won't hurt. That little bit won't hurt. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Those of you that have prepped for shows before. Oh, one more bite of these rice cakes won't hurt. An extra 20 grams of rice isn't going to make a big deal. No, I'm just going to do an extra pre-workout, scoop of pre-workout. That's not going to hurt me. Real easy to start with those little bite-sized pieces, right? Real easy to start going down that road real slowly, chipping away. Before you know it, you've gone way past where you thought you were going to, right? So make these very, very clear lines. Like I said, get very detailed with this. Sit down, make a list. Just like we just made this list right here, take this list and add your details to it. And do it when you're in an off season and when you're not in a mush brain scenario or you're not in an emotionally charged state, right? Any questions on this stuff? Any questions on the things you're willing to sacrifice, things you're not? Any questions on making those boundaries for yourself? Right? Something I started making a boundary for myself at home over the last few months has been sleep. I've had to make a boundary. Like I have to get 8 hours of sleep. Like I said at the beginning of this live stream, man, it's been rough today because I was up like 3 or 4 times last night because of my dog. You know, I can't go several days in a row like that. I can't do it. You know, it's going to happen once in a while. But ever since I committed myself to getting that sleep, man, everything else in my life has been so much better. And that meant turning off my phone. That meant turning off the TV. That meant winding down. That meant actually going to bed at the same time every night and allowing myself to sleep in when I need to sleep in. You know, those are the things that you have to do. As you all know, I'm an overachiever and I'm like more, right? So you have to put the brakes on sometimes. That's a boundary. Right? Another good reason why having your mind in the right spot before you decide to start a prep. If it's mush before, then what? No, it's true. If you can't put thoughts together and string thoughts together before you start prep, then what are you going to do once you're in the thick of it? It's true. Yeah. You got to make sure that you're on top of it beforehand. Like I said, do it when you're not in a vulnerable state. Yes, being intentional. Absolutely. Yep. Do it when you are not in a vulnerable state. Think of it that way. Okay. Any other questions that you guys have for this evening? Want to leave it open? I always like to leave it open for questions for a few minutes. And as we're doing that, you see our little ticker there, we do have our live stream option available for Cuties Conquering the Stage 2023. The link is in our description box here on YouTube. If you're on Instagram, it's in our link tree on our bio. So grab your live stream tickets there. And just like these live streams are interactive, the live streams on for Cuties Conquering the Stage are interactive as well. So we'll have a commentator on there. You can ask questions, all that kind of stuff. Just as the same, not making a big decision in life when you're emotional. That's right. Yep. Just the same as not making a big decision in life when you're emotional. Absolutely. Yeah. Don't be doing stuff when you're on your period. You know, those things. What else? We do have a Sundays with Sean this coming weekend. It's our last one of the year because then we got the holidays coming up and the Olympia and all that stuff coming up through the end of November and into December and all of this. So our final one for the year will be this weekend because we have the Virginia Classic next weekend. So I wanted to get one more in before that. And then our next real group session will be Cuties Conquering the Stage in January. So we'll have lots of stuff coming up as far as telling you what's going on for that and all that kind of stuff. We have some really awesome content put together for this year, as well as hands-on training, teaching, all sorts of stuff. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait. What else? What am I missing? As always, if you want to come work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you got to go. We do hair and makeup, suits and posing. We do have, I think, maybe 1 or 2 slots available for hair and makeup for next weekend show, if you still need to book. We'll be on live tomorrow, and tomorrow we will preview this coming weekend's shows. We're getting down to the wire with qualification series for this year's Olympia. So we're getting to the nitty-gritty. And I think that's it. So I'm going to let you guys go for this evening because, as I said, I didn't sleep very well last night. So I am going to go eat, and I'm going to go take an Epsom salt bath. Like I was saying before, these are my boundaries I have to set so that I can get some good sleep tonight, because that is important. Your body needs to recover, especially now because I'm lifting a ton of weight and trying to grow more muscle, as we all are when we're in improvement season, right? So I hope you guys have had a great Wednesday so far. It's been... Yes, rest up. Thank you. It's been a fast week already. I can't believe we're almost at Thursday. I don't know where these days are going. Yeah, I'm not going to nationals because it's right before Olympia. So I have to be in Vegas for almost a week. So I can't do both. And with Cuties Conquer the Stage coming up, and with Christmas, and with New Year's, it's something every single week. So thank you. Yeah, actually my sleep has been very, very good up until last night. Last night just sucked because of the dogs. So I got to just get caught up tonight. So I should be all right as long as I can get some decent sleep tonight. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great evening. I hope this was beneficial. And like I said, sit down, make your list, unless you're in prep. If you're in prep right now, then don't make a list right now. Do it once you're out. If you're out of prep, then you can make your list. And just stick to it. Okay. All right. I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to log off of Instagram first and then YouTube. All right. Good.